Hello and welcome to the DSP project. I'm your host Rupert Brown. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. It's been a little while. We had the Gigantor interview, which I found really interesting. Thank you very much to him for coming on the show. I got a lot of good feedback on that. I know a lot of you cats enjoyed that, so that was really cool. And previous to that, we had Alvaro Lopez, of course, doing a video on drum syncopation and tension and release. I know I personally learned something from that, so that was really cool. Thank you very much, Alvaro, for those videos as well. This week, though, we are back on the Launchpad again. This time I want to show you how I've set up my sort of cutting / gating effects for live performance. And I think this will hopefully make it very clear why the momentary controls are so important to me and what I do inside of a live set. So we're going to check that out. Hopefully this will kind of bring some of those other videos together. If you haven't already watched them and you've got some questions as to how I'm doing some of the bits I'm doing with the drums, that it's all been explained in great detail in the previous videos, so go and check those out. But anyway, without any further ado, let's check it out. Okay, so here we are in the launch drum set. This time I want to quickly take you through an effects rack that I have put together, in particular how I've done the cutting / gating effects. So let's start. I'll bring in the Launchpad auto map here. Now let's start from the bottom left here. Basically these 8 buttons here represent these 8 knobs here on my effects rack. The first one, gate on, basically is mapped to the on button of this first gate. So you can see when I push that in, the gate comes on, and when I let go, the gate comes off. So by itself, initiating the gate will actually cut the audio out completely, because the threshold is right at the top here. So hitting that by itself is just going to work like a gate. So next one we have over here is called manual gate, and those with a keen eye will notice that the threshold actually jumps from +3 to -40 dB when I hold down this and when I release it. So what this means is if I hold down this first button, that engages the gate, and by itself the threshold is +3 dB, so nothing in that channel should be getting near +3 dB. So nothing is opening the gate to allow the audio through. Pushing this second button here is setting the threshold to -40 dB, and basically all audio that's playing in that channel should be above -40 dB, so that will open the gate and allow the audio to pass through. So what this allows me to do is to turn the gate on, and then as I push this button, this momentary button, it opens up the gate, allows the audio through, so I can sort of cut in exactly whenever I press the button. So that's cool. That's those two. So the next one over is labeled auto gate. And so this is going to work like an ordinary gating effect, where the high parts in the audio are allowed through and the quiet parts are cut out. Now you might notice that this knob on the screen here is actually grayed out. That's because it's not actually assigned to anything at all. This button here is assigned, you can see, is actually moving the manual gate, because what I've done is, let's have a look at the mapping here. For this first button, which is the manual gate button, you see when it's pressed, it goes to 127, like maximum value, and then when it's released, it goes to 0. This next button over is actually controlling the same CC value. You see, they're both 121, 121, so they're both actually part of that same mapping. The only difference is here, when it's pressed, it only goes to 35, and then back down to 0, meaning that when it's pressed, you see the threshold here, it doesn't come way down to 40, allowing everything through. It's only going to allow through the audio that's above -8 dB. So you can set this, what height this is set at, by setting this pressed value here. So if I change that from 35 to, let's say, 40, and then pressing this, it might not be immediately obvious, but pressing this will push it further down. So you can use that to set where that where that threshold button's going to go when you hit it. Now the fourth one, 8th gate, is basically I wanted just a straight cutting motion, nothing to do with what's going on in the audio, just a straight on every 8th, have like a sort of a cutting in and out. And I found the easiest way to do this is actually using the auto pan of all things. So you'll see here that the on and off button just turns this auto pan on and off, and I've got it set to 100% to invert. I've got it set, it's synced to the notes, the BPM, and I've got it set to 8ths. And basically I've taken a sine wave and cranked the shape right up so it forms almost like a square wave type pattern, but not quite, and that gives me my sort of cutting type pattern. Now the top ones aren't quite as interesting. Basically they're just mapped to again momentary controls, and they're just mapped to the on and off. I've got a phaser, a vocoder effect, a flanger, and then like a reversing effect. And again, you can see the momentary controls, so I can just hit them to cut them in and out. And that's pretty much how I've laid out this effects section. So let's see how it works. So there you have it. That's how I've set up the muting / gating type effects for my Launchpad launch drum configuration. Hopefully these videos are all coming together as more of a cohesive package now to explain how that's done. If you have questions and you haven't already watched them, please go back and watch the other advanced Launchpad configuration videos where I have already explained in quite a bit of detail as to how this is all set up. As always, you can head down to our website, theDSPproject.com, if you're not already here, and leave us a comment underneath this video. It's most appreciated, as well as if you want to subscribe, that really does help us out, so that is double appreciated. If you want to get a hold of me direct, feel free to send me an email to inbox@theDSPproject.com. But besides that, that's probably about all for this week, so I'll see you later. That side. Ciao.